guys, we're on a job that we are trying to complete. It's a remodel. You can see with all the work going on in here, they're remodeling the house. Here's our furnace. Lighting's not that great. And I had to do an isolation pressure test. I made a loop. Let me see if I can get y'all some light. Okay. I made a loop in the line set here. And we slid the coil out and did a pressure test. And here's the coil that's in the bedroom. You can see it. I put a stem on it, and the condenser's still holding. The line set has no pressure on it. Yeah, still holding. So there's no doubt that the leak is in the line set. And this is a really, really tight attic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away the suction line and I'm going to cut away the liquid line, and now I'm going to do two separate tests to see if it's the suction line leaking or if it's the liquid line leaking. Hopefully it's the liquid line, and maybe I can just pull it through, because getting in this attic is going to be a really tough job. So that's what we're going to do right now. Alright guys, I have each line individually welded shut now. You can see. Which is what I should have done in the first place, but like I said, this attic is really tight. I'm hoping that it's the liquid line that's leaking. That way maybe I can just do like that and just pull it through from the outside. But we shall see. We're going to go outside and solder another tap and test each line individually. Alright guys, we have two taps. We got one on the liquid line, one on the suction. I have my old school gauges hooked up, obviously using the high side for the liquid line and the low side for the suction line. You can see that the high side is holding steady. It has moved a hair, but if you watch the low side, you can see that it's constantly moving. See that? We're at 300. It'll drop below 300 here in just a minute. Yep, see how it's falling really fast? Alright guys, we found our leak. I don't know if you can hear. Try to get some better light here. Hear that? So you can, it's on that coupling. But this ain't no damn solder joint, fellas. Look at the damn it. Look at the glue. That's some kind of glue. Same thing here. That ain't solder. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all just don't know the shit that I find over here. Unbelievable. Well, I'm cutting both of these out. I'm going to cut this coupling out and that one and solder it. This is ridiculous. Alright guys, I have all my new connections made. Two solder joints up there where the glued on couplings were. And then two here on the coil. Made all those new, used the bender. So now we're going to go outside and hook the condensing unit back up. Alright guys, I got my suction line brazed in. Letting the nitrogen off the liquid side, but I thought while I had y'all in the daylight, I'd show y'all this. This is 7/8 copper tubing, but if you look right here, it says 3/4. That's a coupling, so that's a plumbing fitting. And there's no solder on here. This is some kind of glue or I don't know what the hell it is, but that's definitely not silver solder or soft solder or anything. And this coupling was leaking like a bitch. The liquid line inside had a coupling with the same stuff on it that I think it was leaking too. The gauge was moving really, really slow, so I went ahead and cut both of them out, as you saw inside. But this is just unbelievable here. Never seen nothing like this before. So, waiting on the pressure to bleed out, and I'm gonna add a filter dryer out here, and then we'll be ready for a vacuum. All right, guys, I got the system in a vacuum. Got our dryer installed with some plastic dip. Sprayed on the ends, because I always burn the dryers. I'm guilty. I'm not gonna try to say I'm perfect, because I'm not. So I put some plastic dip on the ends of them so they don't rust out. And made a new bin with our copper right here. Came out looking real nice. And now we're just gonna sit here and let the vacuum do its thing. And we gotta go button up the coil inside. And the blower wheel is making a little noise, so it looks like we're gonna have to change a blower wheel on this system too. But we'll let that pull down for a while, and then we'll get back with y'all. And see, my cheat cord is working today. See, I got one on the hot leg and one on the ground. Somebody left a comment and said there must have been a ground issue on that house because my little cord is working today. All right, guys, so we'll let the vacuum roll. All right, guys, our vacuum's down to 654. I'm just gonna cut it off and let it hold the vacuum all night because I got to change the blower wheel, but I'm gonna have to come back and do that tomorrow because it's about 2:30, 2:45 in the afternoon, and I still got 2 other service calls to go on. Plus, this, as you saw earlier, the house is vacant. They're remodeling it, so we'll shut the vacuum down, let it hold all night, and we'll get it up and running tomorrow. Hey guys, we're back on our ICP today. As you saw the other day, we got all the leak fixed and everything. We're going to go ahead and fill it up with the factory charge. And I went to run the furnace because, like I said, this is a remodel. It's a new customer that I got from my electrician. If you remember in my previous video, in one of my previous videos, I had my electrician come mount a disconnect box for me on an install I was doing. And I said in that video that we help each other out. He throws me work, I throw him work. Well, he just landed me this great account. This guy flips houses, and it's going to be a great account. I mean, I've done a lot of work to this unit. He's also the kind of guy that, like, when I came out here, he's like, look, I just want you to replace it. And I said, well, dude, it's not in that bad a shape. It just, you know, it needs a little work. And he appreciated my honesty. So we're making some repairs here. It's going to cost him a little bit of money, but it won't cost him nearly as much as it would to replace it, and plus he's flipping the house. So this is a new good account that I'm going to have. So we're going to go ahead and fill it up at the factory charge. Alright guys, we're filling the system up with some Virgin R22. It calls for exactly 7 pounds. I would have used 407C, but 407C is only made for mineral oil compressors, and this, I mean, not mineral, I'm sorry, POE oil compressors. And this is mineral oil. I'm not using 422D because I don't like that refrigerant. I tried it out a couple times and was not impressed with it. So I'm going to put 7 pounds of R22 into this machine and start it up and set the charge, and then go get a control board. Alright guys, we're leaving the supply house. This is my Comfort Maker supply house, and we came to get a board for that Heil furnace, and it crosses over to a Universal. They didn't have the OEM in stock, so they gave me this ST9120U. Really nice board. I looked at it inside. I need to keep one of these on the truck because this thing replaces a lot of boards. So we're going to go put it on and then start the system up. Alright guys, our last step on this job is to get the furnace working. The air conditioning is working, all that's been fixed. Here's our board that we changed. The reason that we changed the board was because the old board, the fan relay that's integrated into the board, was making the fan kick on and off. The fan would run for a little while, then it would shut down. And I would tap on the relay with a screwdriver, fan would take back off running. So I went to fire up the furnace, and the inducer wouldn't come on. So I pulled these two wires here, and I was not getting 110 volts to the inducer. Well, this is a Honeywell smart valve. And you see where I've been playing with it. I've cut the wires. The board sends 110 to this plug-in, and then it comes out of the plug-in on the gas valve to the inducer. Well, the relay inside the gas valve is bad because it's not releasing 110 to the inducer. I don't have any open limits or anything like that. I've already checked all that. I told the customer about it, and he asked me how much these smart valves are, and we all know that these smart valves are not cheap. So I called and got my price on a smart valve, and when I gave him what I would have to sell it to him for, he didn't like it very much. So he asked me if there was anything else we could do to remedy the problem. I said, yeah, we can put a relay. And he said then just to go for that. Now, you know, some of you might call me a hack out there, but, you know, what else am I supposed to do? The man don't want to pay for a gas valve. We just had our first, it was about 47, no, about 45, between 45 and 47 degrees this morning. Which I know to you guys up north is not cold. But down here in Louisiana, that's cold to us. And, I mean, not me in particularly, but like to customers, you know, they start freaking out, you know, at 40-something degrees. They want their heat. And he's flipping this house, and the furnace needs to work. So we are going to put this relay in to make the inducer work. Okay, guys, here's our relay. Basically what we got is just like a normal relay. We have 24 volts down here on the bottom, coming from common and W for a heat signal. These two pins are normally closed. So when the relay energizes, these two will open, and these two on the top where I have my wires will close. This wire is coming from the board. Relay energizes, relay closes, lets power flow to this side and flow to the inducer. So now we're going to give it a test run. Let me get my door switch holder here to hold the door switch in. Because the way I had it wired, the inducer was running non-stop. I just had it wire nutted together. Let's hold the door switch in. There we go. Alright. So you see the inducer is not running yet. Let me get this light out the way. So now we're going to go to the thermostat. Put it on heat, and there we go. The inducer runs. We'll wait for the gas valve to light the pilot light. There's the igniter. The pilot light's lit. We have ignition. So that will work just fine. The other day I was worried about whether that part of the gas valve had any safeties in it. So I actually unplugged the blower the other day to see if that high limit right there would trip, and it did. It tripped off the furnace without the fan. All my safeties work with it wired this way. This is just a cheaper alternative to, there's the blower motor. The blower motor just kicked on. This is a cheaper alternative to the Honeywell Smart Valve only if this part goes out. This is the part that sends power to the inducer. Okay? So now if any of this goes out, you got to change the valve. There's nothing you can do about that. But if it's just the part that feeds the inducer, instead of spending $400 on a gas valve, you can do this right here. So, you know, I'm sure somebody on here is going to call me a hack for doing this, but, you know, if the customer don't want to pay almost $500 for a smart valve, I don't really blame him. You know, he's flipping this house, and this will work. There's nothing wrong with this. We already did a combustion test on it. I did a combustion test on it the other day while I had it jumped out, and everything was fine. We had 0 parts per million. Oxygen did not rise when the blower came on. Everything was fine. Now let's cycle it here and just see. We're going to cycle. Thermostat down. Okay. Okay, we lost our flame. The inducer will still continue to run for a few minutes. Or maybe it did cut off, I'm not sure. Yes, the inducer did cut off. And there it is. The blower shuts down. Looks like normal operation to me. Alright guys, I'm going to clean up these wires here. These wires are real loose. I'm going to zip tie all this together, and then we'll get back to y'all. Hey guys, I'm back at the office. I didn't really get much of an ending on that video, but I mean, that was the end of the job. All I did after I shut the camera off is I tidied up the wires with some zip ties. I put the doors back on and I left. And that was just a weird job, man. You know, I really thought that was going to be a easy, you know, run over there, fix it, and impress this guy to, you know, pick up the account because he does flip houses. I don't know if I said it in the video or not, but if you remember a while back, I changed out a train system and put a temp star in. And I mentioned in the video that my electrician was coming to mount me a disconnect, and y'all seen the result of him mounting the disconnect. We're friends. We hunt together, you know, stuff like that. He gives me work, I give him work. We help each other out. And he's the one that got this contract for me. Really good. The guy I'm working for is really good friends with my electrician. And so he got me the job. And I really wanted to impress the guy. And but it was like a chain reaction. I mean, the first thing we found when we got out there, he called me out and he said, "Hey, unit is not doing, you know, it's not working." Okay. So I get out there, I go to the thermostat, I turn it on cool. The first thing, the blower wheel is just vibrating. The furnace is just vibrating like crazy. The blower wheel is all messed up. I said, okay, well, that's the first thing that's got to be done. We got to get a blower wheel. So then we go up, but we went ahead and left it running to, you know, to check the Freon and stuff. Put the gauges on the unit. There was no Freon in it. I'm like, good God. So make a long story short, it was a chain reaction. We had a bad blower wheel. We had no refrigerant in the system. Then the control board ended up being bad because the blower motor would go on and off, and I'd have to tap the relay just like I mentioned in the video. And then we had the Honeywell Smart Valve that releases power to the inducer, like I said in the video. It was bad. So his bill was pretty hefty because we put 7 pounds of gas. No, I ended up putting 8. I had to add more. 8 pounds of gas in that machine. So I was really nervous about bringing him the bill. I mean, you know, not that I'm not nervous about collecting people. It's just, you know, I wanted this account, you know, and I didn't want him to be like, well, damn, you know. So I called him up, told him everything that happened, told him what the price was, and he was cool. He reacted a lot better than I thought he would, and, you know, and I explained to him, you know, everything that happened. He's like, hey, man, no problem. I'm glad you got it fixed. I appreciate it. Took cards from me and said he'd definitely be calling in the future. So that's what you like to hear. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on the next one.